Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this particular video, we'll be looking into one type of prompting technique which is very important as well as it is very much interesting when it comes to prompt engineering. The name of this prompting technique is chain of thought prompting. First, we'll be looking into a definition of it, a simple definition of it. Then we'll move on to looking into simple examples, and then we'll practically implement it by writing chain of thought prompt and checking how it works. So without further delay, let's have a look at the definition of chain of thought prompting technique. So the definition says that this is a technique that breaks down the complex problems into smaller intermediate steps to guide the AI model. So by this you can understand that how it solves the problem. Whenever it encounters the complex problems, what it does, it simply breaks it down into smaller steps so that it can execute those simple steps and collectively will reach the final answer. So this intermediate steps guides the AI model nicely toward a structured and accurate solution. It aims toward a structured and accurate solution. It encourages the model to think out loud, enabling it to reason through the problem incrementally instead of jumping directly to an answer. So basically, whenever it encounters complex problems, instead of simply jumping to the answer, what it does, it simply looks for the intermediate steps, or I would say the reasoning approach through which it reaches the final answer. This makes sure that the LLM will properly understand the complex problem and its details and will properly get out the answer from that particular context whatever we provide it. So this type of prompting is specifically used in certain scenarios where we encounter dynamic complex problems, as well as if we want higher accuracy, then we can use this prompting technique. No doubt it will accurately write or generate the answer. And also it helps LLM to understand the context as well as the query. So now we'll be looking into simple example of this particular chain of thought prompting. First we'll look into a standard prompting technique, and then we'll be looking into the chain of thought version of it. So here is the example. So first we'll look the standard approach of prompting this particular problem. So basically in the prompt I have written this. The question is John buys 3 apples and 2 oranges. Apple cost $1 each and oranges cost $2 each. How much does John spend in total? So for this particular question, we also provide answer to it. So this is a simple one shot prompting. Why? Because here we are giving one simple example for the LLM to understand. So the answer I am providing is $7. Obviously, if John buys 3 apples and 2 oranges, 3 apples $1 each means $3, and 2 oranges $2 each means 4. So $4 plus $3 collectively forms $7. So $7 is the answer. Now what I'll do is I'll simply put one more question. This question will be for the LLM to generate answer. Here we are not going to provide the answer for it. So the question is, if he gives the cashier a total of $10, then how much change does he get? No doubt this is a very simple problem. We already have given the answer that how much John has spent. He has spent $7. So in answer we should get 10 minus 7 because John has given $10 to the cashier. So in change the cashier should provide $3 because 10 minus 7 is 3. So the change he get should be $3. So if we provide this type of standard prompting to the LLM, then obviously the LLM will generate the answer correctly because this is very simple scenario and this problem does not require any intricate thought process or any general knowledge. But what if we have certain scenarios where the problems are little complex and it requires intricate thinking for the LLM to get the answer out of the context? So in that case, we can simply approach CoT, that is chain of thought prompting technique. So how we can write that? Let's see. So this is an example. We'll use the same example and we'll see how we can change it to COT prompting, that is chain of thought. So first we'll give the question. John buys 3 apples and 2 oranges. Apple cost $1 each and orange cost $2 each. Same question. Now in this case, while providing the answer, we will provide a rationale. That means the reasoning, how we approach the answer, how we got the $7 as the answer. We'll provide the explanation for it. So it will be something like this. See, John buys 3 apples at $1 each, right? So it cost $3. So it cost 3 into $1, which is nothing but $3. So for apples, he has spent $3. He buys 2 oranges at $2 each, which cost 2 multiplied by $2, which is nothing but $4. So for oranges, he has spent $4. Adding the cost of the apples and oranges together will give $3 plus $4, which is nothing but $7. So John in all spends $7. So this explanation, or I would say this rationale we have provided for the LLM, so that it better understands how he should approach this kind of problems. As I already told you, this is an example of one shot prompting technique. So here we are providing example. With the example, with we are not simply providing the direct answer. Here we are providing the approach, how the LLM should approach to the final answer, how he should get the final correct answer. So in short, we are simply providing the thinking process to the LLM, how it should think. Now if we provide a question for it, if he gives the cashier $10 bill, how much change does he get? So in this particular case, since it has understood how it should step by step approach to the final answer, here there are very less chances that the LLM will give a vague or a wrong output. The probability of getting the accurate and the precise answer increases drastically using this chain of thought prompting technique. So I hope this particular approach is clear. Here we are simply providing the thinking process for the LLM, how it should approach or tackle to a particular problem. So now if you provide this kind of thinking steps to the LLM, whatever be the question, the LLM will understand how it should approach to the final output. So I hope this thing is clear to you all. This simple example might have clear what exactly chain of thought prompting is and what is rationale that is included inside it. So now that we are done with this particular example, we will now practically implement chain of thought prompting technique so that we can use it for any dynamic use case. For example, if we are building a rack system, so in that we not only get a query, along with that we get context also. So how the LLM should retrieve the proper answer from the provided context for a given complex query. We'll write a prompt for it, a generalized prompt. You can alter it obviously. We'll be providing steps how it should approach the solution from the given complex problem. So let's see how we can do that. So here we are now inside the VS Code. Here is the prompt template that I have defined for Llama 3.1 model, and I'm simply calling the Llama 3.1 model, which is of the 70 billion version, through the Grok AI inferencing. So now we'll be writing our chain of thought prompt and we'll be defining the steps, and we'll see how we can define the steps for the LLM so that it can think like that and approach to the solution for any complex query. So let's start with the prompting. So let me tell you the main agenda over here. What we'll do is we'll simply write a prompt for the LLM to answer the query, a dynamic user query, based on the context that we have got from a third party source. It can be a web source or it can be a vector DB. So for now, we are not concerned about how we got the source, or I would say the context. But let's just write a prompt which will input a question and the context, and will also include the thinking process, how the LLM should approach to the solution for that particular query from the given context. So let's start. You are a helpful AI assistant when answering question. Now here we'll be defining the thinking steps. So we can define it with the help of bullet points. So let's do that. First, carefully read the provided context. So this has to be the very first task for the LLM, to read the provided context, because at the end the LLM will have to retrieve the answer from the given context. Secondly, break down the user's question into key components. So now this has to be done by the LLM so that the user's query will be properly understood. If the user query is a combination of different queries, then after breaking down, we can get the LLM can easily get the answer for each query, and simply at the end it will jot it down and collectively will provide the answer. So the second task for the LLM is to break down the user's question into key components so that nothing will be missed out. Third thing that the LLM has to perform: think step by step through the relevant information from the context. So now, since the user's question has been broken down into key components, also the LLM has a summary, or I would say the understanding of the provided context. It should now think step by step through the relevant information that is provided in the context for those key components that it has broken down from the query. So this is the third step for the LLM to perform. Next, form a logical reasoning chain to arrive at the answer. So now, since it has all the relevant information, it should now form a reasoning for reaching the answer. So it should form a logical reasoning chain to arrive at the answer. Fifth and the final step is to provide your final answer with supporting evidence from the context. Now, this is completely optional, that it's up to you whether you want the supporting evidence from the context or not. If not, then you can simply define here that provide the final answer without reasoning. The reasoning has to be for the LLM only, so that in future while providing the answer it should refer the reasoning. So I hope the fifth step is clear, that it has to provide the final answer with proper evidence from the given context. Now next we have the user tag over here. Now our system prompt is complete. Next we have the user prompt. So as I already told you, you have to provide the input variables inside the user prompt along with optional instructions. So let me write that: context. So I'll provide a dynamic variable over here, context, and next we have the question. So I'll again define question over here. Now for better understanding of the LLM, I'll again define a proper set of instruction how it should approach the given question from the context to get the answer. So first, identify the key information from the context relevant to the question. Now I am again defining it over here. The reason is that I already told you a tip, that whenever you define some precise instructions in the user prompt, the LLM will surely follow it. It won't break it. Now once it identifies the key information from the context relevant to the question, next it has to break down how this information helps answer the question. Next, it should also consider the important significant relationships or implications that are present inside the context for the given query. Next, form a logical conclusion based on the evidence. Finally, I'll write, please show your reasoning also for each step before providing the final answer. So now we are ready with our prompt. We have defined steps or instructions for the LLM to understand or tackle the given problem smartly. So this is how you write the chain of thought prompts. You are not only giving instructions, but you are also providing the thought process to tackle the given scenario. So let's take an example context and a example question. So here is our dynamic context. Over here you can see I have written some information about the library status and rules. So there are some rules for the central library. Books can be borrowed for 14 days. Students can extend once for 7 days if no one is waitlisted. Maximum 3 books per student. Late fees. These charges will be applied per day. Science section is closed on Monday for maintenance. Reference books can only be used within the library. Library opens at 9 a.m. and closes at 6 p.m. Library membership is this. Members get 2 free late fee waivers per semester, and currently it is Wednesday 4 p.m. Then I have defined a student's situation, a student named John who has borrowed some books. Let's see what exactly is the scenario. John has 2 books due tomorrow. One is reference book he accidentally took home. Another another student needs one of John's book urgently, whatever he borrowed. John has class. John has class until 5 p.m. today. John has already used one late fee viewer. John needs both books for his assignment due Friday. John has no membership yet. So this is the scenario, as well as we also have the instructions or rules as per the central library. Now, for this particular scenario of this particular student John, we have a question for the LLM. What is the most cost effective way for John to handle this situation while following the library rules and completing the assignment also? So we are asking the LLM to generate an optimal answer to the given query, how John should get out of this situation with the most cost effective way, so that he can complete his assignment as well as he doesn't break any library rule. So now if you would provide this particular scenario and a question to a standard prompt, then in that case a standard prompt would not provide a proper result for this kind of scenario. You can also try it. If you provide this particular context and this particular question, the this requires logical thinking, because it has to consider all the rules as well as the situation that the student is going from. So this requires thought process like how humans have, and that is why we have developed our chain of thought prompting. Let's see how that chain of thought prompting deals with this particular scenario, and let's see how it figures out the optimal solution for this case. So what I'll do is I'll simply execute these 2 cells. We are ready with our context and question. We are ready with our prompt. We'll simply dynamically replace the context and question over here in the prompt, and we'll dynamically provide the prompt in this particular LLM using the Grok AI. So let's execute this and let's see what answer we get. Cool. So here we have got a very big answer because we also have asked for the reasoning or the evidence. So let's see how it has tackled this particular scenario. So you can see it has considered the steps that we have provided, identify the key solution, identify the key information from the context. So it has jotted down the key information over here, like whatever rules, like it has considered all the rules of the library as well as it has considered the John's situation. Next, it has broken down the information to get the answer. So it has generated a rationale over here. You can see this information is crucial in determining the most cost effective way for John to handle the situation. It has applied the thinking, logical thinking process. It has applied the logical thinking like how humans think in their mind. Next, it has considered the important relationships or implications. So it has found out that a significant relationship here is between John's need for the books and the constraint of the library operating hours, combined with the class schedule. Next, it has also formed a logical conclusion based on the evidence. So let's have a look at the final answer. The most cost effective way for John to handle this particular situation is to return the reference book to the library as soon as possible after the class to avoid penalties, and then attempt to extend the borrowing period for the other book because he has borrowed two books. If the extension is not feasible, he should return the book to avoid the late fees. This approach minimizes the potential penalties and late fees, allowing John to complete his assignment while respecting library rules. Cool. So it has provided the optimal way of tackling this particular situation. And you can see how properly it has reasoned the final answer. It has properly thought the approach to the solution step by step as what we have defined in the prompt. So this is how it properly tackles such complex scenarios. So we can take one more example and see whether we get proper answer or not. So over here you can see we have a new context over here. It is regarding the company XYZ quarterly financial report. So it has jotted down the quarterly report of the company, and we have a question based on the trend analysis and given constraints. Should the company make investment in quarter 4? Consider the impact on profit margins and long-term sustainability. So it has so we have asked a question which is complex and requires a logical thinking because it has to consider multiple constraints and scenarios given in the context. So let's see how this problem is tackled by the LLM, or I would say our prompt. Let's execute this. In this case also you can see it has properly thought step by step. Finally it has reached to a conclusion. So here you can see the output: step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and finally the output is considering the long term sustainability and the potential for the increased profitability due to reduced operating cost, making the investment in Q4 seems beneficial. Okay, it not only helps in maintaining the required profit margin but also contributes to the company's long term financial health by reducing the cost permanently, and because of which the final answer is yes, the company can make investment. And for that it also has provided the reasoning and steps over here. So you can surely rely on this particular decision that our prompt and LLM has made. So I hope the wonder of chain of thought prompting is clear to you all. We have seen two examples how we can tackle complex scenarios. I hope both are clear, and I also hope that the art of writing the chain of thought prompt is also clear to you all. With this, we come to the end of the video. I hope you loved this particular video. If you like this, please give a thumbs up. If you like this particular video, please do like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Also hit the bell icon and don't forget to follow me on Instagram. Please join me on Telegram. Thanks for watching. Have a good day ahead.